Okay, we're going live.
We are. Woo-hoo.
Way it goes. Hello, everybody. I think we're live.
Hello, everybody.
This is Kevin with 2 Steps Forward Coaching, and
I'm Lauren with LBW Coaching.
this is the K&L Effect, episode 2. And today we are so grateful, and well, if you're there and you're watching, we are really, really grateful that you're watching us first off. And we are going to be doing a 4-part series. So the 4-part series is basically around inner blocks, which are so critical. And the first one that we're talking about today is limiting beliefs. And so thought we'd kick off just by people who may be joining us who are not in the coaching space. A limiting belief is basically a generalization, a stereotype, or an idea that you may have learned and accepted about yourself or about the world or about other people that is limiting you in some way. So just think about that for a second.
Can I add one thing?
Sure.
So just in case these people aren't in the coaching world, they might not also know what a block is. So a block is something that gets in the way of where you want to go, what you want to do, how you want to think, and it stands in the way of what it is that you want to achieve. Sometimes there are external blocks, like not having enough money to go to college. And these are the internal blocks, which are the parts of who we are that get in the way of us stepping into what it is we want.
Thank you, Lauren. Very, very detailed. And so with that, hopefully you're following along with us in terms of what the definition is about an inner block and a limiting belief. We would like to give you some examples. So do you want to start, Lauren, by just like throwing out an example of what a potential inner block could be? A limiting belief, sorry.
Did you want mine, or do you want like ones that?
Yeah, general, like what's a general one that could be? I mean, I have several, but I wanted to start with you so that you could share.
So, not that I ever believe this, but very stereotypical, that blondes have more fun.
That's a good one.
You can't teach an old dog new tricks. And women can't push through the corporate ceiling. Those are some basic ones that I know of.
Another one that I hear all the time is that, I could never start my own business, or I could never start something, some new program, or I love when people say, for example, I'm no good at speaking to people in general, or I'm no good at speaking in front of people. So these are some great examples of limiting beliefs. And now what we'd like to do is kind of transition over and give you a little taste of our personal experiences with limiting beliefs in our own lives, because these are really powerful things. I mean, I think what we're both saying and what we both want you to understand is that limiting beliefs are basically things that are getting in your way of you realizing the things that you want for yourself. And it's a story that you have continued to tell yourself and feed your inner self that basically is a part of who you think you are. The operative word here is think, because it's all about thoughts versus who you really are. So I'm just putting it out there that they really are powerful, and not to diminish that they really can limit anyone's potential, including both mine, Lauren, anyone's potential in terms of what it is that you want to accomplish in life. Typically, there is some perhaps limiting belief that's behind you saying to yourself, I would never be able to do that. And then fill in the blank. And
you know what the really scary ones are? This is just my experience that I can share later. But in the work that I've done with clients are the ones that are in your subconscious that you don't even, limiting beliefs are also rules, ideas that are limiting your life that you don't even know you're living by. And they've just been piled on top of you from your parents, from your teachers, and you just never even thought to challenge them. And so you're just walking along with them, carrying and making decisions in your life based on rules that somebody else gave you that you never even gave permission for. And they're just yours.
And that's the power of them, is you kind of accept them for default, like at face value, without really ever second guessing how that may be serving you. And serving you is this concept of how is it really helping you propel yourself to go after what it is that you really want in life. It doesn't matter if it's a healthy relationship, if it's, I want to be a VP of a certain job or a career. It could be probably running a marathon, or, that you could have a lot of limiting beliefs, or I could never have a family.
Who would say they could not? Yes, but it's amazing the things that people walk around with, and until they actually put them out there, and that's part of the subconscious component. Like what you said, they live in default, they don't challenge it, and they just don't make choices. They don't make choices that they really want to make because somebody told them they couldn't.
Absolutely. So
is this where I ask you?
I'm sorry?
Is this where I get to ask you the one that you went by?
Yeah, I think for me, I can just share one quickly it's more, I would say it's more of the here and now, because it was a part of my journey, over the past, I say 6 or 7 years. Not that I tell you, I have numerous limiting beliefs and have had them, but I'm continuing to work through them. And that's the beauty of actually partnering with a coach, is the power of being able to work through them. And the realization over time that you're like, oh my God, why the hell did I ever believe that to be true, when there's really no evidence to support this other than me just thinking it to myself. And so one of my big ones, I can tell you, that got discovered as we moved from DC to Miami just about a year ago, was I had given up and thought to myself, I will never have my own career. I literally was telling myself that for probably the past 6 or 7 years. It was every time we were moving, I share my life with a diplomat. And so in this life, we're constantly picking up and moving every 3 to 4 years. But I had relinquished myself to this idea that, well, it's really about finding like the best job and finding a job that, I will be interested in, and I'll be able to contribute and learn and grow. But it was also the flip side, was I wasn't really managing my career anymore. And really, if I'm being seriously candid, I wasn't fulfilled. I wasn't feeling wholly fulfilled in that path. And it created all kinds of issues. I'm telling you, these limiting beliefs really can affect all areas of your life also.
Like what? If you don't mind getting a little honest, how did it bleed into, because that's the other thing too, is it affects us and we don't even realize how it's affecting us.
So it affected, my relationship. I will tell you that with my husband, Jonathan, I was angry. I blamed him. I remember blaming him for the fact that I was upset with my own life. I know that sounds crazy, but it's not crazy.
It's not crazy. It's understandable because your profession was really important to you, and to not be able to have that as an anchor in your life, that makes sense.
Yes. But that was the output, was he was on the receiving end of me getting really frustrated and angry with him. But when now, of course, through this process of really challenging my limiting, I was challenged by someone else, actually. That was the beauty. Someone else really challenged me to say, why is it that you think that you can't have your own career? And I was like, wait a minute, what do you, and it flipped, just that one simple question flipped things on its head for me and allowed me to start processing things differently about that's, this is true. Like, why have I given up on my dream of having a career and growing something that I'm really passionate about? And it was only through that gentleman asking me this, that was also the journey that got me into coaching, to be perfect, I mean, honest, is that this led to other realizations and sort of epiphanies that happened. But that was a one major one. And it showed up, I mean, it showed up not only in my relationship, it showed up in my own personal, just not being happy, not being the joyful, kind of exuberant, fun, energetic person. It kind of zapped my energy. It really drained me in many ways. And
So
so,
there was a Kevin before the Kevin I knew.
yes,
Oh, and he wasn't happy. He wasn't Kevin, the whole Kevin, the
I
Kevin.
wasn't. I wouldn't say it's not. I mean, there were moments where I was happy with what I was doing,
I
but
know.
I had, like you said, the idea of that career, I had really given up and just thought, well, it's about maximizing the job that I can get and trying to just make a living, like earn some money. And really, it was something bigger where for me, the epiphany was, I only have one life, and I can't, I got really serious with myself about, wow, I only have one life. So I really need to think hard about this. And God, if I only have one damn life, which we all have, I need to push myself harder to understand, like, this is the dream that I want for myself. So why am I not going after it? And it was, I know it sounds like kind of, there's a lot more behind that, but the sense is that really the place that this was coming from was, and everyone says it, you shouldn't settle for something in your own life that you are settling for. That's the idea. And I know it's easier said than done. People would say, oh, don't settle. And I hate that sometimes too, like, don't settle in your life. But really, if it's something that you want for yourself that is going to fill you up with joy, with love, with a lot of beautiful things, by all means, you should be pursuing that, and you should be trying to pursue it for yourself. And if you don't feel like you're there and ready to do that, that's why we're here. That's why coaches are here. And that's what we are trained to do, is to help you unlock what is holding you back. And so, I mean, that's my story. And so now I want to turn the tables.
You can turn them, but I do want to say also that you said it was this one person who brought this to your attention. And one of the really great things that I believe is that we're exactly where we're supposed to be. And I think that, I mean, I'm kind of more of a leaning into the universe. The universe opens up when you lean in. It sounds like it was also the perfect time for you to hear that. Like if you had 6 years before thought, I couldn't, it was the right time for you to hear that message. And that also helps propel you. You have to really get quiet and hear the parts of who you are deep, deep, deep inside that we're so used to bulldozing, and not really fine tuning that, listening to those so carefully. But that's an important component too, is really listening to that soft voice that speaks to you that you don't even pay attention to.
No, and I think that's a really great point that you're bringing up, is that there is a time and a place. And sometimes perhaps many people aren't ready, or they're not in a place where they're ready to take that on, because everything, like you said, has its time and place. So what I'd like to do now is let's turn the tables, Lauren, and I'd love to hear from you about a limiting belief that you have worked through that has really made a difference in your life, like how it was holding you back. And then after kind of working through it, what did you notice, like, in your own life that was this huge just breakthrough and opened up for you?
Well, I'm going to start with the fact that my whole life was made up of rules, and I had no idea. And that was kind of the greatest takeaway for me through my journey, is I think everything was a limiting belief, and I had no idea, because
Everything?
Well, I'm not going to say, well, I just don't know that I was aware of choice.
Okay.
I actually did come to this conversation with one in mind, but the other, once I threw in rules, my favorite thing to talk about with clients is, what are the rules you're living by? Like, where did you get that one from? Who told you you have to do that? I love that. Well, my whole life was just kind of, this is what people tell, this is what they say. And so that was how I lived. I didn't really necessarily have an independent thought to kind of get outside the box. And so I can say that I was filled with gratitude. I made a choice to be a stay-at-home mom. I wouldn't have made any other choice. It was part of my path and my purpose, raising my children, and it was amazing. That being said, somewhere along so my oldest is 23, somewhere in that 23 years, I became just a stay-at-home mom. I'm just a stay-at-home mom. And that meant that I wasn't a lot of other things of value in the professional world, that my opinion or I didn't have the prowess, and I can tell you right now that I know there are women on the other end of that conversation, because I've sat across from them, that compare themselves to women who stay home and they feel bad. Good moms don't work. As a stay-at-home mom, I thought I was less than a working mom, because look at these working moms, they work and they have children. So there's always kind of that comparison. And as a stay-at-home mom, I was just a. And so I just brought that with me for many years. And then, this is great. So there was a conversation with Lewis one night. There was a conversation with Lewis one night. My husband's a little older than me. And we were talking, and it came up to insurance. And that one day he was going to retire. And he says, but you'll have a job and you'll have insurance. But you just made a face like you know exactly what he's talking about, except I was really offended, because while I knew I was going to go back to work, I was thinking, wait a second, I have to go. Like, I've been staying home raising children. Like, oh my God, now I have to go back to work. Like, what was this? And what am I ever? So all of a sudden, instead of it becoming my decision, it became this, it shifted, which I knew I was going to go back to work. So then all of a sudden I became very stuck and very adversarial. And I said, what am I ever going to do? I can't do anything. I've been at home for 23 years. I have no skills. No one's ever going to hire me. The whole list. There's a list of 50 things.
What would you say, like, if you get really specific in terms of one limiting belief that you think that either really affected you, or even a recent example of one that you perhaps worked through yourself, what would you say it is? Becoming a professional woman? Or
yeah, that's what it was. So that's where it led me to.
Okay.
Was that I wasn't going to be able to do anything. Forget owning my own business. I mean, what was I ever going to do? I was not qualified to do anything. I didn't know if I could step into a program. And so recently, in building my business, I've had to become a technological person, which has been incredibly difficult. And I thought, well, I haven't grown up with technology, so I'm never going to be able to learn it.
Wow.
And until I really realized that's how I showed up every single day when I sat down at the computer and I brought that energy, I'm never going to be able to learn that. I've been out of it too long. It's too complicated. Every day I showed up, and every day it was difficult. As soon as I challenged that, or a few of my coaching friends helped me challenge that, I realized that it may not come as quick as I like, but I'm definitely capable. And with a little more grace, a little more patience. And
so wait, let's get specific, because there's probably some women out there right now who are need to hear this, and maybe experiencing the exact same thoughts you are. What did you learn? Let's get to what did you learn? Blow their mind what you learned.
Okay, so here's a really big one, because I was talking to a woman who wants to, she's early 60s, and she's like, well, I'm too old. I'm like, you are never too old for anything. You can do anything you want. The energy you bring determines what you're going to receive. And if you decide you can't do something, you are not going to do it. But you know what? My journey is different. And here's something really interesting. I may not be, what's that boy with the Facebook? Who owns the Facebook?
Mark Zuckerberg.
Mark Zuckerberg. I may not be a Mark Zuckerberg, but I'll tell you something. I can write. I can connect with people. I'll out connect Mark Zuckerberg. You know what I mean? Like, everybody brings something different to the table. So nobody comes to the table with 100% of the elements. And I think that we decide, we look at all of the blocks and then we stop, instead of challenging the blocks and saying, and I'm glad you brought this up, detaching from the outcome. The idea is I don't have to worry about what's down there. I just have to be on my journey, show up and say, that's where I want to go. This is what I want to do. And I'm going to move forward the best way that I can. And it'll unfold as it unfolds. And it'll be beautiful as I do it. And some days it'll suck. And I embrace the suck because I laugh at it. And but that's, you know, that's life, and that's what everybody goes through. But we tend to think we're the only one, and we can't do it. So moms, you can do at any age whatever it is you decide to do. Get on it, get going, make it happen. There is nothing in your way but yourself.
And if you need any help in trying to figure that out for yourself, Lauren focuses on women who basically, what do you help women do?
Oh, well, yeah, I help women release all the bullshit from their past. And
so there you go.
Right. What that means is I want you to find who you are inside of all of the other components of being a mom, being an executive, being a daughter. We're all of these things to all these other people, but who are we inside of all of that? And we tend to often lose that component. So we're going to move all the shit that gets in our way, get back to who we are, and do what it is you decide to do.
So with that, now what we'd like to do, this is like the best part. So if you're watching, or
what about you? What do you do, boo?
Oh, I'm going to tell people what I do, but we're not done. This is the meat. This is the crux of the discussion, because we want to give you, if you're on the replay or if you're watching this live right now, this is going to be the meatiest part. So get your pen and pencil, pen, piece of paper, and pencil, or whatever you want to use, or your phone. Basically, we're going to give you some tools and quick questions that you can actually use to help you work through those limiting beliefs that you may be bumping up against every single day, every other day, depending on the moment, context, and situation. And so one of the biggest questions that you can ask yourself when one comes up is, say to yourself, how true is that belief for me? Just ask yourself that. What evidence do I really have to support that belief? So just sit with that for a minute. Like, imagine asking yourself that and then thinking and going back and saying, well, God, 9 times out of 10, or probably 100% of the time, you will never be able to find evidence to support what it is that you're telling yourself you can't do. It's a thought that you have told yourself repeatedly that you believe to be true, but it's not the absolute truth.
Can I add one?
Sure.
And then ask yourself, what is holding on to this belief really costing you?
So we just gave you guys 3 amazing questions that you could ask yourself in the moment when you have one of these that comes up, that will help you process and think to yourself, unravel, oh my God, you know, why I've been telling myself this. And you're right. It's, what is my belief holding me back from either doing, achieving, being, just being as a person, the person that you want to be, right? Oh, I'm always angry, or I'm always this. Are you always that? And is that who you want to be?
You know, the flip to that, and I think this would be really powerful too. When you're done answering those 3 questions, ask yourself one more. What new belief would I be willing to adopt to replace that one?
And I would only add one word to that, which is one belief that would empower you.
That is why we are so good together. It is really amazing. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you.
So we've given you guys a lot of information. This is packed full in a half hour. There's a lot of great information here. But again, the point that I think we really want to get across to you is limiting beliefs are something that can keep you in your place for weeks. Weeks become months. Months become years. From really achieving and doing, not even achieving. It's not even about achieving, because there's no, like, the success is your own personal success and what it is that you want for yourself. So you get to determine that. It could be something so basic, but to you, it's not basic. To another person, it might be, oh my God, this is like climbing Mount Everest. But for you, it would be like just climbing a slight molehill, or, you know, a slight incline. So again, everybody's experience is so unique. And so we would ask that, again, if you are, for anyone out there who is, you know, in the space of wanting to make their next big career, my name's Kevin Hunting, and I am the owner of 2 Steps Forward Coaching. And I serve basically anyone, all LGBTQ professionals who want the clarity and the courage to make their next big move. And so we're here, I'm here to help. And so reach out to us. You can reach me at www.twostepsforwardcoaching.com, or email me directly at info@2sfcoaching.com. And we're going to add those in the comments anyway after we're done, so you can get the information. And then Lauren.
Okay, you can reach me at www.lbwcoaching.net, or you can email me at lauren@lbwcoaching.net, or you can go to my webpage, or what's that, Facebook,
You know, social media.
One of those things. Reach out. I got you. If you want to, if you want to reach out to him or me to get to the other one, we're all connected.
And just one other thing, you don't want to miss next week, because we're going to be talking about another major inner block, which is called an interpretation. And so it is slightly different, but we're going to spend a whole half hour. We will be actually putting it out there in advance so that you will know the time and date. But next week, we for sure are going to be back. You won't want to miss it, because this information, I think, is hopefully of real value. And again, we're so grateful that you actually either watched us live or watched the replay. Thank you so much.
And bring a friend. Bring a friend next time. If you know somebody who's stuck, needs a shift, needs some empowerment, inspiration, they get it right here on the K&L Effect.
And bring some popcorn too, or bring whatever you want, your favorite drink, what beverage, whatever. It's all about engagement, and we're here we're here for you. So thank you so much.
Bye, guys.